We're gonna start off with our man, our people's Gunna. Jesus Christ, Gunna. If anybody don't know who Gunna is I think Atlanta rapper. He's an Atlanta rapper. Um, I don't know if he was signed to YSL, but he was a good friend of Gunna. I mean, not Gunna, but of Young Thug. They got hit with a RICO case. And when you get hit with a RICO case, there's a 95% of chance you're going to jail for over 20 years. Those are RICO cases right there because they deal with evidence and they don't be fucking around with not knowing if you did what you did. That means they have evidence on you. And when Gunna went up in the court, when this motherfucker went up in court, I don't even think he lasted a month in prison. This motherfucker started telling courts that like, yo, YSL is a gang. He's not a part of it. They're a late record label as well, but basically they're a gang and they're an organized gang. So it's like you're gonna get hit with a RICO case. It's because if people don't know where RICO cases came from, it came from technically the mob because they couldn't catch what the mob was doing and all the illegal shit that they were doing back in the days. But when they got hit for like 20, 50 years. That's why when you see these mobsters go down, they go down for like 15 to 20 years. And they go down for, oh man, I used to go out with a girl whose father was a mobster of Revere. Motherfucker had like 15 kids, but he was a good guy to me. He was good to me and stuff like that. And like, I would never say anything bad about that man because that man, I don't know, because I met that man when he was like in his 80s and 90s. His daughter was like 18 at the time. She was around 18 years old. And like, he was good to me. This motherfucker had this military dog that jump out the window when he has to use the bathroom, jump right back in and stuff like that. So, like, I have nothing to say about the Italian mob and shit like that. And it's like, if I did, I'll go in. I don't give a fuck. I at the time, if you live in the hood, they don't come to the hood like they used to do back in the 40s and 50s and stuff. It was like the hood, them niggas is bad for business. That's why they don't go to the hood. I remember my man was like, one of his right hand man. He's like, yo, I'll drop you off. He's like, where you want me to drop you off at? I was like, yo, drop me off in Jamaica Plain. I ain't going over there. He's like, what? It's bad for business. He told me the truth. He's like, yo, over there is bad for business. They get, they turn up there basically. But I just told him drop me off at Wonderland. So yeah, and the mob won't go nowhere near the fucking hoods and shit like that. They try to stay out that. The thing about it, they try to stay off the radar, and I have to respect that. But this man, Gunna, once he get locked up, man, he starts singing like like he was a part of the symphony orchestra, man. And the thing about it, it's crazy, man, because the shit that he spit and like, yo, I got that nigga. That man might have to change his name. That man might have to change his name, Gunna, man. That shit's not fitting him, man. It's this man is in a situation. Motherfuckers out here calling him a rat, leaving cheese on his fucking Maybachs and shit, man. Like, niggas is out here really disrespecting niggas and stuff like that. And what's so crazy about it is like the person who's defending him, he's the man in the streets, Big U. Shout out to Big U, but this doesn't look good for him too, because at the end of the day, it's like I don't know how the West Coast goes, but if you hanging out with a rat, it's like you're a rat by association in the East Coast. It's like, yo, you ain't supposed to be hanging out with those niggas. It's just that's how I was taught when I was younger. It's like, yo, don't hang out with that guy. That guy will get you in trouble. He's a snitch by association. You'll be a snitch by association. It's just, it's like, yo, somebody shooting out your car and stuff like that. It's like, yo, you're an accessory, It's like you're going to jail because you're associated with this nigga and you was there, and that's not how you want to be portrayed, especially if you like walking in these streets and stuff. And even if you're not a street person, you just, you want to just do your own thing. You just don't want to be around those type of people because, yo, bullets don't have any names on it. But this nigga Gunna, he don't give a fuck. He ain't saying nothing. He's not replying to it because at the end of the day, I feel like personally he don't know what to say. You know, and what fuck Big U up? Because I always tell people all the time, Big U is a former, I guess, California Crip. I don't know if he still claims them and stuff because he's an OG. He probably grandfathered out of the motherfucker, man, because he already did like over 20 years, I believe. I don't know, but Big U, he protects a lot of people when they come into California. Also, he was the manager, I think, of Nipsey. So like if people don't know everybody know who Nipsey is. Nipsey, I guess he was supposed to be the next big thing. He was the truth. He was telling the truth. He wasn't acting. This is who he was. He's like, you love him, you love him. You hate him. Just respect him. And what fucked up Big U, and this is where everybody is like trying to pick. Basically, niggas is picking sides over Big U because Big U's talking about like, yo, this nigga needs paperwork. But if you have a video in this nigga in court saying that like, yo, YSL is a gang in a record label, he's not part of it. Basically, the nigga's cooperating. Niggas look at that as cooperating. And the thing about it, he's saying, oh yeah, you need paperwork for that shit. You need paperwork. Like everybody's supposed to, I don't know. It's just like you need paperwork, but if everybody's seeing it, it's different, And like my whole opinion on it, like personally, I do think he's a snitch, And I wouldn't even call him a snitch. I think he dry snitched. And what I mean by dry snitch, he told why by pulling himself out of the situation. So he's a dry. It's like saying like, "Yo, who threw this rock? It wasn't me." You gotta look at them other niggas that did it. It wasn't me. All I can tell you, it wasn't me. Instead of saying, "I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on." You basically dry snitching. Yo, it wasn't me. Look at them other niggas. And then this nigga talk about he don't need paperwork. Like nigga, when have a nigga never need paperwork if they seen it on video talking in court that this nigga saying like, "Yo, YSL is a gang." These niggas be getting busy out here. Like, come on, Big U. Like, yo, you been in this game too long, man. There's no technicality to shit, man. Like, and the thing about it, I can't even say big. I gotta call him Unc because I have to call him Unc because you respect niggas like that. When you respect nigga, you call him uncle, auntie, and stuff like. That's a nigga you have to respect, Big U. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, this ain't brain science, my nigga. Like Big U, you know what's going on. I know this nigga's he been friend with your son and shit like that and all this other cool shit. But at the end of the day, this is where you need to separate yourself and your family from it. Because at the end of the day, anything ever happens, and you probably not into that bullshit anymore. But let's say some bullshit happens. Do you really want to rely on this nigga? Because, nigga, we know what cooperation, the definition of cooperation is giving information to the law enforcement. Did this nigga get information to the law enforcement that YSL is a gang? Yeah, they probably know it, but now they got proof that them niggas is a gang. It's a gang, He gave evidence. I know you love this nigga like an uncle or like your son, a second son, but like, yo, you gotta separate that shit, yo. This is, nigga, you gotta look at everything that you've been in jail for, nigga. You throwing all that shit out the window, my nigga. I know you're trying to help the community and shit like that, but you're not helping the community doing this bullshit. Try to hoodwink niggas and telling this nigga, and the thing about. I see niggas backing you up. Like, I get it. You was an OG, but come on, my nigga. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Are we gonna lie to ourselves and say like, yo, this nigga didn't really snitch? Like this nigga didn't bite the cheese? Like, yeah, that shit nigga, but like he did what he did, nigga. As Star always says, yo, I got things to do, my nigga. I got things to do, nigga. That nigga had things to do, and he wasn't trying to be in jail for Christmas. He was trying to see his family for Christmas by any means necessary. Now let's ask this question, Big U. What happened that was your son in that situation, and that nigga did what he did? Would you still look at that nigga as an uncle or a son? I mean, a nephew or a son? Or he did that to one of your cousins or your nephews? Would you look at that nigga as a family? Like, my nigga, we can't play both sides right now. It's like, yo, I know we all using emotions right now because, you know, Gunna's family. But what he did. He cooperated. Like, nigga, it's not the nigga. This is what we have to figure out. Is this nigga a civilian or is this nigga a foot soldier? Because the nigga was talking like he's a soldier. Was he flogging? What, is this not him? Now, Big U, can you please explain that to us? We know he already did some bullshit, but at the end of the day, he did more than bullshit. He told. The nigga told. I know you don't want to admit it, but I know you care for the nigga. I know you have family. Come on, Big U, man. You doing too much right now, man. And at the end of the day, niggas look up to you. And the reason why niggas look up to you, man, because you did everything. You did everything for the game. You protect niggas in California when niggas came down there. You told niggas not to don't do things that not supposed to do. Even when niggas did things, you know, them niggas didn't listen to you. You let them handle that shit by themselves. You let them niggas handle it. Like, yo, my nigga, you have to deal with the consequences. This nigga snitched. That's a no-no. That's basically rule number 2. That's basically rule number 2. Do not cooperate with law enforcement, my nigga. Because he don't want to stay in there. And the thing about it, I don't even think his charges would have been crazy like that. Nigga talk about that ain't his gun. This ain't... Nigga. That's your boy. What happened this nigga? What happened if this nigga snitch on you? Are you gonna say this nigga, he didn't snitch? There ain't no paperwork. Nigga, you can't do that, my nigga. Right is right and wrong is wrong. You see the same video that I seen. You see the same video with this nigga agreeing that, like, yo, YSL is a gang. When you do that, you just giving them proof that that shit's an organized gang. And you can hit them niggas with Rico. And I don't even think that shit was hit with Rico until that nigga okayed the shit. Like, yeah, that shit's a gang. And niggas is making money off of pills and all that shit. Because don't forget, Rico's... There's 2 things about Rico's. They have evidence that you did it already. But I don't think they had evidence... Because... Down South Rico is different from the East Coast Rico. East Coast Rico, they already know that you did it. It's 95% you going to jail. But when you go down south, niggas get hit with Ricos. I don't think them niggas know. I think those laws is different. They got to prove that shit. You know how many niggas we seen celebrities got hit with Rico cases and they were supposed to be in jail for 20 years? And they're not in jail? Like, my uncle got hit. The nigga I was just say like, yo, send some money to that nigga got hit with a RICO case. He beat his RICO case because the FBI ran up in his house without a warrant, so they had to dismiss everything, and he didn't want to fight no more. Where they reappealed the case. This nigga, and the thing about it, what's so crazy too? They raided the wrong house before they raided the shit that I guess was affiliated with him, allegedly. Allegedly. They caught everybody. They didn't even know my uncle was a part of that shit. He was just driving the motherfucking car. But they knew what they were supposed to know. They had shit tapped. Yes, they knew most of the motherfuckers was part of that shit, but they had no proof that that shit was a gang until this nigga said something. Like, the shit sounds crazy and stuff, but I don't think Atlanta knew. Don't forget, elections is coming up, and these niggas out here doing dumb shit for almost 10 years. Them niggas hasn't got pressed. Them niggas was making money off of. They was using the YSO as the fucking as a record label. And it was really a drug organization. Only way they would know that is because this nigga told them. They could have been like, yo, this shit's a record label. Look at, we got we got receipts. This is how much money we're bringing in.